Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Families Grow Together, show number 17. So for today, we are going to talk about positive interaction. As human beings, we like, or it is a necessity. Sorry, my screen. So as human beings, it's a necessity for us to interact with others, with our environment. But then there is a difference. Is the interaction you have with others promoting your growth, or is it hampering your growth? So for today, we will hear what Aqua has to tell us about positive interaction. So over to you, Aqua. My name, just before we go to Aqua, my name is Nelly. Sorry, let me adjust my screen. I am Nelly Kwasumi, a transformational life coach. And today I'll hand over to Aqua, who will take us through positive interaction. So if you have any questions or comments, please put in the comments below so we can share and answer the questions and give us tips as well. So I'll now pass over to Aqua.
Thank you, Nelly. Hello, everybody. It's Aqua here, your early intervention practitioner. Yes, this is our 17th show, and as Nelly said, we're looking at positive interactions. What are they? So when we talk about something being positive, it means that it is something that is good, I would say, something that's characterized by the presence of something rather than the absence of something. So, for example, if you're in presence of somebody you love, that's a positive thing. If somebody is not there, it means that you may miss them. That's a negative thing. So it could be the presence of. Positive means the presence of, or the constructive, or optimistic or confident discussion that you may be having. So there needs to be a positive approach to the way we do life. Well, we would like to think that the way we do life should be positive. So we're looking at positive interactions. So positive interactions may include friendly conversations with specific people, with your children, your spouse, your friends, your colleagues. So, and when we have positive interactions, we usually give constructive feedback if we have to critique something. It could be a non-verbal acknowledgement of somebody or something that they've done, or it could be the interaction between peers. So like children who are playing together, they're having fun together. That is positive. So things that we do that are beautiful, that are nice, that are encouraging, those are with one another. Those are positive interactions. And these positive interactions can lead to positive social and emotional development between peers, between children, between loving adults, between colleagues, and things like that. So who can we have positive interaction with? We can have positive interactions with anybody and everybody. Now we're looking specifically at relationships, and we'll dive deeper into relationships with children. But in nature, in biology, they talk about positive interactions as well. So positive interactions in nature is when two species benefit from one another. So none of them is affected by the presence of the other person or the interaction that they have with one another. So it could be things like mutualism. Both species gain from the relationship. It could be like symbiotic relationships. And so positive interaction can also be, it's also an aspect of biology, but that is not what we're going into today. We're looking at human relationships, the relationships that we have with people around us. So that could be your family, that could be your colleagues, that could be your business partners, that could be any human being you interact with. So what are some of the benefits of having positive interactions? It could lead to you developing yourself more when you interact with somebody who is positive, who maybe knows some subject matter more than you do. You may learn from them. It could be that it could increase your emotional development and your happiness, your confidence, and lots of positives that we can have when we engage in positive interactions. When we talk about positive interactions, it means that there is always an opposite, which means that the interactions that can be negative. So negative interactions will be like things like criticism, things like judgmentalism, is that a word? Being judgmental about people. So there is critique and there's criticism. Critique means that you're giving feedback for somebody to improve, but criticism means that you're bringing that person down. You're just giving feedback that will knock them down. So we have to differentiate between these words. So there is positive and there's negative interaction, but we want to focus on the positive today. So how we interact positively. So what are some of the techniques that we can use to build positive relationships? So we can get to know people better, because if you want to have a relationship with people, you have to get to know them. You cannot have a relationship with somebody that you do not know. So you get to know the people. You can lead by example. How do you model positive interactions in your home, in your business, at your workplace, with your colleagues? So we can lead by example. We can ask questions. If there is something that you are in doubt of, you ask a question to get clarity, and then we can treat everyone with equal respect. So these are some of the things that we can do to build positive relationships around us. We can listen more. Like some wise person somewhere said, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So listen more, listen to understand, not necessarily listen to respond. Listen to understand what is going on with this person. What are they trying to say? Let us listen to understand. Now, keep a can-do attitude. What is a can-do attitude? It means that you are willing to try. You don't just look at an obstacle or a challenge and just give up. You're willing to try. And this supports your team, because if it's a team effort and somebody in the team, sorry, young fellows, somebody in the team just says, that challenge is too difficult. We can never succeed. That just brings down the team morale. But have that can-do attitude. Doesn't matter how difficult it is, I am willing to try. Let me put in my best effort here and let's see how it works. Be helpful and available. Sometimes we can be that happens in all relationships, in the home, at work, anywhere. Let us be willing to do some work. Be helpful and available, because you may have a job to do and you have your task to do. And you're like, okay, tunnel vision, this is the task that I've been assigned. This is all I'm doing, and that's it. Whereas maybe somebody is struggling and they may need help, but because you finish your task, you're sitting there and you're watching them struggle when you're in the position to help them. No, let us have that willingness to be able to help one another so that we all grow. So let us make ourselves available. And another thing is to give encouraging and honest feedback. Now, I talked about critique and criticism. When you're giving feedback to somebody, like they always use the sandwich method, give a positive thing, negative thing, and then finish with a positive. That is what is encouraged. But the thing is, even if there's something that the person has done wrong, or give the feedback in such a way that they will learn from it. Be honest. Don't lie and say, or don't try and soothe the person's feelings by not telling them the truth. It is always better to speak the truth. It doesn't matter how difficult it is. It is just how we say it that matters. Because telling the truth even though it may be sometimes difficult to accept or to receive, if that person is really a friend, if they truly want to learn and grow, they will go and reflect on it. My child said something to me. They may have been rude about it, but were they trying to say something that was relevant? So it is important to be honest so that when you sit back and you say, okay, this is what I said to this person. Was I truthful? Was I being encouraging? Was my feedback given in a way that they will receive it? So it's important that we give honest feedback and let us be encouraging. And take time to learn about what is happening in that other person's life, because you never know what is going on truly. Because somebody you can see somebody all smiling and dancing, and the next minute they're crying, and you're wondering what went wrong. You may not know what could have triggered them to break down. But so it's important that we take time to learn what is going on in the people in the lives of the people we have relationship with. And like we said, compliment one another, especially in front of others as well, because sometimes we go behind the backs and like, oh, my friend is really good at this, my friend is really good at that. But we don't tell them to their face that, look, Nelly, you're very good with administrative tasks, and I appreciate it very much. I'm just giving you now a compliment right here. So in front of the whole world. So yes, let us compliment one another. Like my Francophone friends always say, supportons nous vivants. Let us support one another while we are still alive. Let us wait, when somebody is dead, you come and you're crying in the grave like, oh, this person did this to me when they were alive. You didn't appreciate them. So words are very important, and positive words are very important. So another thing we could do is not only show interest in what they like, show interest in their hobbies as well. Because when you show interest in somebody's hobbies and you take time to spend time with that person doing what they love doing, it shows that you really care. And they'll open up and they'll be more likely to talk to you about things. So those are some of the things that we can do to promote positive interactions. Now, we can never do a show without me coming back to speech and language development. There will be no point, because that is my bread and butter. That is what my purpose is. When I do anything, it has to come down to speech and language. What is it? How we can use what we are learning in, sorry, my screen has gone off funny. In supporting our children who are delayed in their learning and development. So we are going to look at how we can interact with our children. So raising children is a challenging task, but it can also be very rewarding. Not even can, it is very rewarding. So it is important that we interact with our children in a positive way. Doesn't mean that we don't tell them off when they do wrong things. Doesn't mean that we do not discipline them, but it's important that we have good social interactions with our children. And when we have these positive interactions with our children, we build their self-esteem, we build their confidence, we make them have a good sense of who they are as people, as individuals. We allow them to grow, to thrive, to come out, to come alive when we have positive interactions with our children. So through social interactions, children begin to learn not only about how the social environment works, because when you interact with your children, you're teaching them how life is. So you're not only teaching them how we interact socially with our peers, with our family members, but we're teaching them how to communicate. So how you communicate during social events in your daily activities matters, because this can impact your child's development. So social interactions with young people usually happen first within the family. They need to learn how to interact positively, first of all, at home, before they go into the world, because you are your children's first educators. They learn from you first before they go out into the world. So what we teach our children from the very youngest age matters, and how we interact with them matters. So they would like to play with other people, but they have to learn how to play first at home. They would like to share with other people. They have to learn how to share first at home. Let us not push our responsibilities to nursery teachers, to school teachers, to the people in the community, to the church. We have a responsibility as parents to teach our children the skills that they need to learn and develop. If we're unaware of what to do, ask questions. At the moment, everybody can learn as if you are willing to. There is so much information out there. Everybody has a phone. Or let's just say 90% of the world today has a phone. 90% of populations have phones and they have the internet. So there are YouTube videos all around that we can look at and learn from. I am learning how to parent teenagers at the moment. Every other day I'm on YouTube. How do I deal with my teenagers? How do I encourage them? How do I motivate them? I am learning all those things because I'm a parent. I don't have the answers to everything. Just like you are parents as well, and you struggle with some areas. So we all have to learn. And so we should be willing and open to learn so that we can do the best that we can, give them the best opportunities that we can. So it is important that our children's first interactions, positive interactions, come from the home. Because if we do not give them those things at home, when they go out there and somebody shows them a little bit of interest, that is them gone. They will crave more, they will want more, and they'll go out there to get more from there. So it's important that we first show them love at home, show them that we love them, we care about them, we want them to succeed, we want them to thrive, do our best to support them, grow to the best of their abilities. Now, let us look at some of the things that we can do with our children to encourage positive interactions. Catch your child doing something good. And praise them. Because sometimes we see them doing things, we just take it for granted. They're supposed to do their chores, they're supposed to sweep the floor, they're supposed to tidy their room. Catch them doing something good and like, wow, that was very good. Like I always give the example that sometimes I come home, I am choleric in my temperament, and I am very task-oriented. So I come home, the first thing I see is my kitchen is very dirty. Why didn't you people, who was supposed to wash the dishes today? Sometimes you come and they've washed the dishes and you're like, wow, the kitchen is clean. What happened? Thank you. You know, catch them doing something good, praise them and thank them for doing it. Limit negative words. Try and use positive language. So stop, don't, you can't, calm down. Change your language. Positive parent positively by saying, let's walk, rather than saying, stop running or don't run. Let's walk. Sit down on the chair. Chairs are meant for sitting and not jumping on. So change your language around how you talk to your children. I am still learning. So I'm saying that I am doing this 24/7. No, when I come and sometimes I am up here, when my tank is full, I do that as well. But when I'm trying to be positively conscious, like we talked about intentionality last week, we try and be intentional about how we interact with our children. Teach positive behaviors. We need to teach the positive behaviors because sometimes we expect that our children will just do these things when we have not taught them. We parent reactively. Teach them first so that when they fail, you know that I said this is what we put as a standard. Now that you've followed, what are the consequences? Rather than you've not taught them, you've not told them that they shouldn't be on their phones till 9 p.m. And now you come and see them on their phones. Don't you know that you shouldn't be on your phones till 9 p.m.? Did you tell them that? You haven't set the boundaries. How can you enforce boundaries that were not set, that are not known? So it's important to teach the positive behaviors instead of telling them what not to do. Set limits and expectations. Because sometimes we sometimes just expect our children to know things and to just do things which we have not put down as this is what is expected of you, and manage your expectations as well, because sometimes we expect too much of children depending on the age anyway. So set your limits and your expectations right. Teach behaviors that you would like to see your child exhibit. So show them, if it is that you want them to be talking gently and politely, talk gently and politely. Model what you want to see. Play with your child as much as your time permits. That is one thing that we need to do with our children now. Depending on the age, the games obviously that you play with your children are age determined by age. So you're not going to come play maybe really building a train. Oh yeah, some children, some adults do like building train tracks. But what I'm trying to say is do the activities that are age appropriate with your children. So maybe your teenagers will not like to make Play-Doh, but they may like to bake cakes. They may like to bake cookies. So choose the activities according to your child's age. Ask open-ended questions and listen to the answers. So when you're asking your child a question, don't give them, ask questions that will require a yes or a no, unless you have a follow-up. So ask open-ended questions so that your child expresses themselves in a way that you're bringing out what is in them, and not you trying to just get exactly what you want out of them. So that will give you rich interaction, and you give you more information about you, your child, and you get to know them better. So ask open-ended questions, hold eye contact. There's so many things that we could go on and on about. Another thing is get down to your child's level. Sometimes as parents, we think that because we're adults, we just have to talk down to our children. No, get down to your child's level, interact with them at their level. Show interest in what they're interested in. Because if you show interest in what your child is interested in, they're more likely to open up to you, and you get to know them better. Sometimes we think because we have these children that are living in our households, we think that we know them. We do not know them if you do not talk to them. If you do not talk to them, they will not open up to you. You get better to the child. You don't know what's going on in their minds. And me, I have teenagers that on the internet 24/7. Are they going to tell me what they're doing on that internet? Question. So, but my job is to give them that space to be able to talk. If they're willing to open up, then they open up. If they don't want to, it's okay too. So we need to be able to give our children the space to open up. And don't be, I've already said that one. Let's be patient. That is something that we all need. Let us be patient with our children, and do not breathe down their throats, try and force them to do things the way we do things. Allow them to express themselves creatively. Even if they do it wrong, give them that opportunity to take responsibility of certain tasks, and do not parent by manipulation using anger, because I have done this before. Like, let's go out, or let's play a game. Now you don't want to play a game, you manipulate them into coming and playing with you with anger. No, let us not parent with anger. Let's not use manipulation to parent, because in the long run, we'll lose them. Let us draw our children in so that we get to know them, they get to know us, and we share as much as we can together. Now, as to what, these are general principles that you can use with all children. And if your child is delayed, then you have to tune in now to even bring these things even lower, because you have to work according to your child's level of development and understanding. So if your child is delayed in the language development, for example, they're on the 5s or the 2s, and they're developing at the age of 1, speaking at the age of a year-old, for example, I created a little framework called, with the acronym TIME. So to help them develop their language, talk to your child, interact with them, model what you want them to the language that you want them to use, and enjoy your child. So this is an acronym that anybody can use in your business relationships, in your romantic relationships, in whatever relationships you have. To make it positive, you have to get to know anybody, you have to spend time with them. You cannot know somebody from afar. It's impossible. if you want to be intimate with somebody, you have to spend time with them. So talk to that person, interact with them, model the kind of positive interaction that you want to see with them, and enjoy their company. So I hope that that has been informative. I'm learning as we learn together. So when I'm sharing these things, I am learning in the process. So I hope that has been useful to someone. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Aka. That's lots and lots of information that you've given us. I will just pick up on a few that you've talked about. And when we always have these shows, I like to go back to our roots because we were born in Cameroon, we were brought up in Cameroon. There are so many things that are different from when we were growing up in Cameroon or Africa as a whole and here in the UK. So I always make that reference because our roots is very important for us to remember our roots. So I'll start with praise. In our community, praise is something that we hardly give our children or give those around us, and even receiving praise. So if, say, like Aqua said, our children can be doing something and we take it for granted, that is so, so common, to the extent that when you praise a child or when you praise someone, they're like, but what did I do? Everyone does that. But what I say, and Aqua, I'm sure she's sick and tired of me saying this, I say, any single thing that you do, praise yourself, tap your shoulder, because you have put in effort to do whatever you've done, to achieve whatever you've achieved. So you need to be praising. Parents, let's start. Because when we demonstrate, I mean, children will not, they'll hardly do what we tell them to do. They'll do to an extent, but they'll copy what we do. So if we start praising them, you'll be surprised that they will turn and praise their parents for the things that they do on a daily basis. So they're just little practices. And you said something about the can-do attitude. I like that one because, like for myself, sometimes I think it's because I have that, I'm so curious. I like to learn things, and sometimes I take up on challenges that I don't even know where to start. At first, I used to struggle because I would not ask for help. I would think, if I go to ask for help, so already that thought is negative. It would already defeat the interaction. So then I wouldn't be able to have a positive interaction because I'm going into that conversation with a biased mind that I will not get the answer. And obviously, I will not get the answer. But having that can-do attitude, you just go wherever you struggle, ask for help. And obviously, you will get help. And one thing Aqua talked about, criticism and being, was it critical?
Giving critique and
giving critique, and yes. So there's this game that I really, really like. It's one of the tools that I use in my coaching. You say yes. If someone makes a sentence and say out of that sentence, you find just one thing out of probably 10 or 20 things, you find just one, you agree on that, yes. So you are agreeing, yes. Let's say, Aqua, yes, you talked about praising our children. And so now it is a yes and game. So the yes is agreeing to what that person has said, and is my additional. It can be an opposite of what Aqua has said or any other person has said, but it is making an addition. It could be a criticism or a critique, whatever. But then when I agree first, it tells the person I'm speaking with that, yes, they listen, they agree, or I agree. But then I add whatever. So it goes after the and. The person I'm speaking with. And one other thing, I like games, I like playing, I like storytelling. So as Aqua was talking, I was just focusing on teenagers. I have 2 adult children and 2 teenagers. Actually, 3 adult children and 1 teenager. so, so I've been through, it's not that I'm all know it, no, I am still learning because every day is something or another and we learn. Anyway, so my screen again is messing up. So the game I talked about is spending this quality family time together. And like you can do it at any age. And this is something that really helped my interaction with my children several years back. And I still do it, but it is, anyway. So this game is a game, it's an activity, whatever. It is, say we plan it, say a weekend when everyone will be at home. We switch roles. We switch roles. Okay, for instance, I am, please let me just open this door. So we switch roles. So if this week I say I am going to be one of my children, I will play that role of a child. And then any child will choose the role of a mom or a dad. Let's say it's a Saturday. Obviously, the parents will have to provide all the basics that is needed. And then on the day, whoever is the mom will do exactly what the mom actually does at home. And then whoever is the dad will do whatever. Surprisingly, you will be shocked because you will hear your children speaking your language, your word, telling you off. At the end of the day, have an evaluation and you will realize, because sometimes a child will say something because they are the parent and you are the child. They'll say something. And since you are in the child role, you have to keep up with it. And you might be, when is the time for evaluation, you say, you said this to me, I didn't like it. And they'll be like, tough cookies. Mom, that is exactly what you tell us. And that is how we feel. So to me, I really, really like that game because it made me to learn a lot about my children and even about myself. Because when they say something, it is just me, it's just my word. So I'll encourage parents to take on that game. It's just a game. And then you really hear yourself through your children because they'll just be expressing. So I just thought I'd share that one. And especially with teenagers, because we know like teenager, I like teenagers a lot because
Teenagers used to be very scary.
yeah,
But now
because
they're no longer scary.
yeah, I think with children, teenagers, is that if you understand them, give them the space, because mostly parents, my screen is funny, because parents complain or parents say, oh, I really like to talk to my child, but they're just in their world and things like that. Yes, they are in their world because before, when they were younger, were you spending that time with them? Now they have gone to the stage that they are and they need some space. It's okay to give them that space, but you as a parent, think of the trust. Are there elements of mistrust that you think is playing up in that relationship with your child or whoever is in that relationship? You need to think about that and then start to develop that trust by positive interaction. Communication. Some time ago, we talked about communication and how you can improve communication with yourself and communication with others. And if you are interested in watching that, if you go on our YouTube channel, you will see that video there. But yes, those were the 3 things that really, really came to mind when Aqua was talking. So over to you, Aqua.
Thank you, Nelly. There is something that you said there that is so powerful, the game thing. I have to bet, plead, force, cajole, manipulate mine before they come and play games with me. And it's so good because you have fun, you laugh together, you enjoy one another's company, even though they don't want to get off their screens and do it. When they do finally come and join in, they enjoy it. And that is the beauty of it, even if it is 30 minutes, even because it's not about the length of time, it's about the quality of that interaction that you've had with those children. So it's important that we also focus on what they need, because sometimes it's all about us. Like, let us go and do this. Let us go and do that. But you're not asking them. I'm guilty of this as well, because sometimes you're like, okay, let's go out for a meal. And then they say, I want to go to, like on Sunday, as you said, I want to go to, what did you say, want to go to? Frankie's and Benny's. But there was a carving near our house that we've never been to, been music for quite a while. Like, finally we went there and it was not as fun as I thought it would have been, but but so yeah, so sometimes we manipulate our own children to get what we want in the guise of wanting to spend time with them. So I learned a lesson that day. So we decided that each month, if we have to go out, somebody else picks. Everybody has a turn to pick where to go to. So thank you for that. And involving them is very important, because sometimes we think that we know our children or we want things for them, but is it what they want? It may not be what they want. Yeah. So having a positive interaction is being able to listen to what they are trying to tell you, and to give in, to allow them to engage. Now, Ango has joined us this evening, and Vivian as well from Cameroon. So thank you girls for joining us, and thank you for all the wonderful comments. Ango has put 1,001 comments there, like she does. She is a very interactive, one of our best interactive supporters here. Thank you, Ango, for joining and for all these comments that you put in. I'm gonna read a few of the comments that are there. I'll read some, and then Nelly can read some as well.
You know, I can't see them. So
you cannot see them. Okay, then I'll read, I'll read them. So Vivian said yes. She was replying to what you said. Yes, that's what our kids do. They talk like their parents. One will say, Mom, you are dad. You hear them and you will be shocked at what they come out with. So that's so true, Vivian. That is so true. They do that. I'm going to say the first thing that Vivian did was encourage us. She said, wow, courage, girls. So yes, thank you, Vivian, for encouraging us. Ango said we need to involve them in our children, that is, in what we do, so that they can learn too. And we need to validate their play when they insist on playing what we do not like. So if your child is engaged in an activity and you come in there, please don't take over your child's play. Allow them to lead that play, especially with children who are delayed in their language development. If they're focused on playing with a particular toy, for example, let's say they're playing pretend play with food. You come in there, you start saying, oh, this is how you should do it. That is how you should do it. That child will shut down. But if you come in there and you're interested in what they're doing, they're more likely to tell you about what they're doing. So you join in and see what they're doing and comment more on what they're doing, rather than asking too many questions. Like you say, oh, wow, I see you're making a cup of tea. I would like one if you don't mind, and ask open-ended questions. So engage in what they're doing and validate their play. And that is very important that we do that with our children. And obviously, she says eye contact, hugging at intervals. So that positive touch is also positive interaction. And she said, patience. Love this. That is one of the keys, because we, especially as mothers, our cups are sometimes too full. And if our cups are full, we need ourselves to be contained. So now I'm using Solihull terminology, Solihull parenting, because sometimes when you work with families, sometimes they're struggling not because the parent hasn't got the capacity to parent, it's because they themselves are so full, they need somebody to contain them and their own emotions. And when you go and sit and just listen to that parent talk, by the time you finish talking, they come up with the solutions that they need for managing, having those positive interactions with their children. That's not just always, because behavior management is one of those terms. It's like you're managing, it's like a business that you're managing. No, we want to try and interact with our children positively. So sometimes we need to contain parents in order that to help them, give them this headspace to be able to interact with their children and the families and the partners better. And I'm going saying that she is guilty of manipulation as well. I raise my hand up. I always raise my hand if I do it. And yes, she said that the word model. Ango, you've put so many comments in there. We can spend the rest of the evening enjoying your comments. So yes. So thank you, Ango, for joining in. Thank you, Vivian, for joining in. Nelly, anything else?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ango. Thank you, Vivian. So what I just thought I add is protection. Sometimes parents want to overprotect their children. And like Aqua has said, parents want to take over what the children are doing because of that protective factor, that overprotective factor, which is a disadvantage. They are doing the child a disfavor because, okay, let's say a child wants to use a butter knife, and you are like, no, 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 don't use that knife because you'll cut your finger or that interaction. What are you telling that child? That no, they don't need to use the knife. And over time, the child will not know how to use the knife. But if you give the child a knife, depending on their age, by the way, or the butter, or you can buy the child a plastic knife and show them how to do whatever they want to do. Let's consider that overprotective factor, because sometimes the overprotective factor leads to the manipulation because you want to do everything possible for that child to do what you want them to do, which again, to an extent, is not doing, you are not doing favor to the child. At the present time, you might get the satisfaction you think you wanted, but over time, it is having an impact between you and that child's relationship. It's like when a child thinks of something or is curious to know of something and comes to the parent and say, Mom, Dad, this thing, that it is easy for parents to just give, to just tell the child a white collar lie. But it has solved the problem at that present time. But in the long run, there are aspects of mistrust because this child probably might not come to ask the parent because they might have asked, or especially now with the internet, children look up on things. They might have clues. And then when they look up on that, yeah, and then when they look up on that information and they start thinking, I asked my dad, I asked my mom, and they told me something completely different. You know what? I'll look at it myself, or I'll get other people. Already that there's a mistrust between the child and the parent, and that's how the gap. So when we are promoting that positive interaction with our children, let's be mindful. Let's go in with non-judgmental attitude, ask the open-ended questions, and give the child the opportunity to express themselves, to know that they are worthy, they are valued. And even if they make a mistake is a mistake, and not that the child needs to be crucified because they've made a mistake. We learn from the mistakes, and if we don't make mistakes, then we are not learning, or we don't want to learn. So yeah, that overprotective factor, I thought I bring that in, Aqua. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so true. Thank you, Nelly, for that, because we all do it, especially first-time moms. I went to visit this mom this afternoon. She wanted support with weaning. And she started weaning, but she said she was very scared. So we chatted for a while. I told her, we just discussed, and I gave her the information about weaning and everything. And I said, you're doing a great job already. You're doing fantastic, because she's using traditional method with spoon and trying to do baby-led weaning as well. I say you're doing, the fact that you tried both is very good. Even though you were scared, you still did it. And because the fact that the child is spitting it out doesn't mean that they don't want it. They're still learning how to move food in their mouth. So she just needed that person to listen and to reassure her. So, and by the time we had the conversation, I spent 30 minutes with her, and she was happy and ready to go. And she knows where we are, and she knows that she can always come down to the center because she doesn't live far from the center. So sometimes parents just need that reassurance to allow, and the confidence to allow their children to take the risk. Even though giving the food to the baby to eat by themselves, it's a risk that the baby is taking. It's a risk that you're taking. Is my baby going to chew, have a carrot and choke on it? That is a risk, and that is part of life. But children need to go through these stages of development. And if we deprive them of these stages because we're scared or we're being too protective of them, then we're depriving them of their learning and development, and they'll be behind. And you see 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds still on puree, when they should be chewing corn on the cob, they're still on purees, and it leads to swallowing difficulties and things like that. So it's important that we do not overprotect our children, allow them to take some risks, and give them that opportunity to spread their wings, really. Thank you. Right, I just wanted to say that if you do not yet follow us on Facebook, please like, follow, share. And if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe, and so that we can reach as many people as possible with our message.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much, Aqua, for that. And thank you, our viewers, for your interactions with us, positive interactions. Oh, what a coincidence.
It's a coincidence, it had to be.
Yeah, so you can find us on our website. We've got plenty of information on our website, and the website is www.handhandcommunitycic.com. That is handhandcommunitycic.com. I would just like to say, please, if you have any topic that you would like us to talk about, send us a text message and we will, oh, I'm frozen. Send us a text message on the topic you want us to talk about. And again, if you want to join us on this panel, you are welcome. Just send us a message and we will make that arrangement. That is all from me. Thank you so much, and over to Aqua.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining us tonight, and just hope and we pray that you have picked up one thing, even if it's just one thing that you can implement in your daily lives, with your family, with your children, at your workplace. One thing. That's our heart's desire, that whatever we share here, we impact somebody's life. And if that means you take one thing, one strategy, one suggestion, one thought that we've shared, and you use it in your own life, then that's great. And that is what we want as well. You share your thoughts with us so that we can also learn from you, and we'll all grow together. Thank you for watching, and have a blessed week and rest of the week.
Thank you so much. Bye.